Hey guys, I'm Steph and welcome back to my beauty stash. Today we're going to be ranking all of my recent foundation purchases and reviews. I don't think I have ever done a video like this where I come back and let you guys know what I think of the products a few months later, a few weeks later. But if that is something that you want to see here on my channel, I will most definitely work to do more of these types of videos. But I think the foundation reviews are really important because I know in looking through my channel, those are the videos that get the most views, and with good reason. You guys want to know how you can achieve a good base. You guys want to know what products are worth checking out, what is worth your money, and what is not worth giving a second glance to. So I definitely have you covered on foundations. That is one of my most favorite videos to do, are foundation reviews. And going back, I've said this before, I grew up with acne prone skin. I had acne all the way into my mid-20s. It started to clear up towards my later 20s, but I always wore foundation and or concealer, something on my face to just cover my terrible acne. So I've just always been on the hunt for good foundations, and I love trying out new foundations. And we have 13 foundations to cover today. I will say that there are going to be 2 foundations that I did end up returning, so I'll just put a picture of them here when I'm talking about them. But all of the other ones have remained in my stash. And I'm going back to, I want to say, late December or right at January 1st. I don't remember. I just didn't remember the date of it. But these are definitely foundations that I've reviewed and worn over the last 2 months. So if you guys want to see which foundations topped my list, then keep on watching. All right, guys, so I'm gonna kind of sit at an angle over here just because I am gonna be putting up some pictures and the thumbnail of the video that corresponds to the foundation that I'm going to be talking about. Again, there are 13 that we're going to cover, and all of the review videos will be linked in the description box of this video, and they are also, of course, all available in my foundation playlist. So guys, we're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up. The first one is a foundation slash tinted moisturizer. It didn't say exactly what it was. It said it was a makeup, and that is the one from Almay. This is called the Skin Perfecting Healthy Biome Makeup. Now, it doesn't say foundation. It didn't say tinted moisturizer, although I would say it is more along the lines of a tinted moisturizer. But this foundation just didn't last on my skin. It didn't wear well. It caked up. It lost what little coverage it did have. Yes, it was affordable, but at the same time, it was ineffective. And for me, my normal to oily skin type, oily primarily in my T-zone, I like foundations with at least a medium coverage, if not to bordering on full coverage. I like to be able to build up my foundations, and I just could not do it with this product. And what I could do didn't last throughout the day. This makeup just completely broke down, and it was an absolute flop for me. And it's unfortunate because I didn't have any other Almay products in my stash, so I was really hoping that this would work out, but it just didn't. Now, next up is also another foundation that I did end up returning. It just didn't work for me. And this one is the Sephora Best Skin Ever foundation. Now, I went into Sephora to purchase this foundation, and it was affordably priced. It's about $20. And the sales representative there, she helped me and she shade matched me, and it was perfect. Like, that was the best part about this foundation. However, it did provide coverage, but it really broke up badly on my skin. And it did do a 2-day wear of this foundation. And I think I ended up wearing it for a 3rd day just before I really made my final decision on whether I was going to keep it or not. and it never performed well for me. It did provide decent coverage, but again, it just broke up really badly on my skin, and yeah, it was just not a winner for me and my normal to oily skin. So next up on the list is from NYX, and this is the revamped Total Control Pro Drop Foundation. Now, I had the original version of this foundation a while back, and I remember I had it in 2 different shades. I do not remember which shades I had, but I do remember buying 2 different shades just to get that exact match, and I don't think I ever did. I wasn't in love with this foundation when I first tried it then, and I really wasn't in love with it when I tried it more recently. And I'm really glad that one of you commented that this is a water-based foundation, therefore my primer should have been water-based as well, which likely attributed to it breaking up really badly upon application. You were right. So I have since tried this foundation with other primers, and it has done a much better job. However, I don't get a complete workday's wear out of this. While it is a very lightweight foundation, I think you're going to find that it does lack in the coverage and longevity that it provides. If you have beautiful skin on your own and you really don't need a lot of coverage and you only need a foundation to get you through a good 6 to 8 hours a day, then this one from NYX is definitely worth checking out. They do have a lot of shades available, and you can pretty much find it wherever NYX is sold. Number 10 is from Ulta Beauty, and this is the Velvet Match Full Coverage Foundation. I reviewed this foundation. I believe I did another 2-day wear test. Of course, all the thumbnails are up here so that you guys can go check out those videos. But it did good the first day, and then it didn't do good the second day. So what I've been doing since then is actually mixing this foundation with other foundations that I have in my stash that don't necessarily check all of the boxes. And I remember this time last year, I reviewed this other one from Ulta Beauty, and this is the Effortless Effect Medium Coverage Hydrating Foundation. I have since mixed these 2 foundations together, and they have done a much better job that way. So guys, whenever you come across foundations in your stash that don't necessarily do everything you want them to do, for example, this is full coverage, which I love, and this is hydrating, which I also love. I combine them and I can sometimes get my perfect foundation formulation. So just remember that going forward. If it's maybe a foundation you can't return, or you don't want to return it, you don't want to deal with all of that, keep them and mix them. Number 9 on the list is unfortunately the Huda Beauty, the new formulated Huda Beauty Faux Filter Luminous Matte Foundation. Now, I was able to compare this new foundation to the old foundation, and I have to say, I'm a bigger fan of the OG than I am of the original. And I was supposed to get rid of the original because it's an oldie, but I just can't part with it. I will say that with the new one, I did go to Sephora and I got shade matched in store, and I like the shade better. So in the new one, I wear the shade Panna Cotta, and I also wear the shade in the Faux Filter Stick Foundation, in case any of you are wondering. In the old version of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation, I had the shade Vanilla 120B, and it was just always a little too light for me. While I do think that this provides amazing coverage, it kind of caked up on me towards the end of the day, and I think I just got a little bit more coverage with the original, minus some of the cakiness. Now, this foundation is not necessarily awful, it's not necessarily bad, but I just liked the first one better. So that's why I am ranking this in the number 9 spot. So next up is a recent foundation purchase, and this one is from Lys Beauty. This is the Triple Fix Serum Foundation, and I have the shade LG6 in this one. This brand is the first Black-owned clean beauty brand at Sephora, and this beauty is ranking in the number 8 spot, and let me tell you why. I've been wearing this foundation the last few days. I've been wearing it with different primers, different setting powders, different just makeup looks all together, and I think it goes on beautifully. It has a gorgeous, like a dewy finish to it, but when you apply setting powder, and I have the Lys pressed translucent setting powder, it really does, you know, give the skin a nice mattifying effect. Now, this is a very lightweight foundation and it provides a good medium coverage. However, I don't feel I get, you know, a full 10 to 12 hour wear out of this. What I have found is that I've definitely gotten a good 8 hours, but it's usually around that 8-hour mark, especially with wearing a mask, that this foundation tends to go south, at least on my normal to oily skin. Now, that could also be because I'm not touching up throughout the day. And of course, like I just said, I am wearing a mask on and off for most of the day, but still, it is something that is worth mentioning. I think if you're looking for a new foundation that's going to give you a nice lightweight feel, a luminous feel, and you don't necessarily need a full coverage, this is definitely buildable, but for sure, right off the bat, you're going to get a nice medium coverage out of it. And some of you may not need your foundation to get you 12, 14, 15 hours of wear. For some of you, 8 hours is good enough. And this being a clean, formulated foundation, free of all of those bad things that we don't need our makeup and skincare to have, I definitely think this is worth checking out, and it is very reasonably priced. I want to say this foundation is like $23. It has really nice packaging, that frosted glass packaging, of course, with the pump. And of course, you would be helping to support this brand new, clean, Black-owned by a female beauty brand at Sephora. Again, this is the Lys Beauty Triple Fix Serum Foundation. Number 7 on my list is going back to the drugstore, and this is a new one from Physicians Formula. This is the Butter Believe It Foundation and Concealer. I have the shade Fair to Light in this one. I will say they need to release more shades of this foundation, because I do remember when I initially reviewed this, the shade range was not that great. That being said, this foundation says it's good for all skin types, and I can most definitely attest to that. It wore really well on my normal to oily skin. I believe I did do a 2-day wear test out of this one. Did great on both days. Again, this one will get you a good 8 to 10 hours, but then after that, of course, you are going to see its signs of wear. And I remember wearing it with the new Butter Believe It Putty Primer, and then I also wore it on its own. It did good both days. I have worn it since with other primers and setting powders, and it's done a really good job. I really like the packaging on this. This is a glass bottle. Of course, you have the pump. For being a drugstore foundation, it's a little on the higher priced side. I want to say this is $15 or $16. I got mine straight from the Physicians Formula website, but I believe you can find this online at Ulta Beauty. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It provides great coverage. You can powder it down or you can wear it as is, but I think you're going to find that this foundation definitely checks a lot of boxes, and you're going to get a nice day's wear out of it. Number 6 on my list is the new one from Clinique, and this is the Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation with a broad spectrum SPF 25. Now, it had been a hot minute since I had tried Clinique, since I had bought anything from Clinique, and I grew up using Clinique. I remember buying the Continuous Coverage Foundation. I kept repurchasing that for so many years. I don't currently have it in my stash, but that was one of my full coverage concealers. That was my ride or die. That one, along with the Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Maximum Coverage. Those were two that I was just always reaching for. Now, with this one, I was excited to try it just because I didn't have any Clinique in my stash. And I will say, this doesn't feel like a serum foundation. I think it feels a little bit thicker than that. But you do get a really beautiful natural finish with this foundation, and you do get some pretty decent coverage. Now, I thought this was a pretty foundation. I thought it looked really nice when I was applying it, and it did for most of the day, but I can honestly say I only get about 8 hours, 8 good hours out of this one. And again, if you're okay with that, then more power to you. I mean, any of these foundations are pretty much going to work for you. But I know this is on the higher priced side of foundations. This one retails for $42. So for some of you, you might be thinking, Steff, if it's $42, it needs to last me 24 hours or it needs to last at least 12 hours. It might be able to get you to 12 hours, but if you're going to be wearing a mask, which most of us are, and you don't have time to touch up, I think you're definitely going to see the signs of wear at the 12-hour mark. I'm a normal to oily skin type. This did a great job on my skin. I think if you have dry skin, this is going to work just as good for you, and it'll be up to you whether you want to powder it down or not. But I did enjoy it. I also think the packaging is super cute, but I will say I always have trouble removing this cap. And I remember when I first got it, I had the hardest time taking the cap off. It has a little pump on it, and I don't even remember how I was able to open it, but it took me a while. Like it took me like 5 or 10 minutes to get this little cap off when I first got it. So sometimes I don't always press the cap all the way down, although now that I've been wearing it more, it's coming off a little bit easier. But yeah, just be careful with that. This does pop off, but sometimes it can get stuck. So FYI on that. Now we're going to get into the top 5. What do you guys think made my top 5? Well, first up, we have the new one from Morphe. This is the Filter Effect Foundation, Soft Focus Foundation, which is going to provide medium to full coverage. I picked up the shade Light 5. Now, when I reviewed this, I did a 2-day. I did a 2-day foundation review and wear test over this one. And I worked off of a sample card that I had. And I told you guys I was going to purchase the full size. And of course I did. I really enjoyed this foundation. I do remember it saying that it was waterproof, and we did test that out because I wore this for a good number of hours when I was outdoors in my jacuzzi, and it wore fine. It didn't come off or anything. I thought it just looked really, really pretty on my skin. It had a really pretty finish. I found that the finish was more of like a natural finish, and the coverage did build up. I was pleased with the coverage and the longevity that I got from this foundation. It does have a pump on it. I want to say this retails for $20, of course, on the Morphe site and on Ulta Beauty. That's where I ordered mine from. And I'm just really impressed with it. I was a little skeptical because I had seen so many bad reviews on their first foundation. I never tried that one. So when this one was coming out, I was like, oh, do I want to try it? What do I want to do? And I thought, you know what? Yeah, let me give it a shot. Let's see what's going to happen. And I was really excited. First and foremost, that I had the sample card to work off of, and that I was able to end up purchasing my full size. So see guys, don't ever throw away your samples. Look at them and try the foundations that you get in those sample cards, because you never know when you're going to be trying or meeting your new holy grail foundation. And that's exactly what happened with this one from Morphe. All right, number 4 on my list is another one from the drugstore, and that is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. I recently did an IG reel over this one, so definitely if you're not following me on Instagram, head on over there. I've been doing a lot of these Instagram reels. They're really short little videos, 15 to 30 second little speed demos, speed tutorials, and they're a lot of fun. I enjoy making them, and they're easy to edit. So as often as I can do those, I will. But this is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. It has hyaluronic acid and squalene. It is oil-free, and it provides sheer to medium coverage. Now, this, I think, definitely provides medium coverage. This is definitely one that you can build up, and this just looks gorgeous on the skin. I can't explain it. It looks like you have a filter on your skin. It doesn't settle into pores. It doesn't accentuate fine lines or texture. It just lays so beautifully on the skin. Guys, this is only $5, and I've seen it at Five Below, at Ulta, of course, on the Wet n Wild Beauty website. Not too sure if Walmart has this. They might have it already. I have the shade Light in this one. Guys, this little product is just fabulous. I highly recommend checking it out. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. It's going to be probably the best $5 that you've ever spent. And it just feels so lightweight on the skin, but it's still providing amazing coverage. And I can definitely get a good 10-hour wear out of this Tinted Hydrator from Wet n Wild. Now we're getting into the top 3. And for number 3, I'm giving it to Marc Jacobs. This is the Extra Shot Caffeine Concealer and Foundation. I picked up the shade Light 140 in this one. Now, this is both, and I used it as both on the days that I wear tested this one. It is a foundation. It is also a concealer, and it wears beautifully as both. This provides amazing coverage with a nice natural, like even bordering on the dewy side of finishes. I just loved it. Now, this is on the heavier side, I feel, of foundation slash concealer. Like, this is in no way near where the LYS foundation is or the NYX one is. Those are definitely very thin, more lightweight foundations. This, because it is doing both, I feel like that's why there's a little bit more of a weight to it, but it's nothing that is gonna look like a hot, cakey mess. This is definitely gonna get you 10 to 12 hours of wear, especially if you set it with powder. And of course, if you do your periodic touch-ups throughout the day. I just think that this provides amazing coverage. The shade is pretty good for me. Again, I'm Light 140. Now, the only downside to this product is you only get 0.5 fluid ounces in here. You don't get the 1 fluid ounce that you normally would get in a foundation. But then it's also a concealer. So if you're buying this to be a foundation, yeah, you're gonna get less product. But if you're buying it to be a concealer, then you're getting more product. However, if you end up using it as both, which I most definitely think you can do, then you're paying $39 and you're getting a pretty good deal, I would think, because you're not having to bring in another product. This is a one and done type of product. So I like it. I could definitely see myself repurchasing this once I finish it up, which will probably be never, because it'll probably expire before I have time to finish it up. But you never know. You never know. I have been reaching for this. I do love it. It's just the coverage and the finish for me is really the main selling point on this one. And again, I use it for both. I don't go in with another concealer. This is the one that I use. Now for the top 2, and I am wearing the second place right now on my face. I've been wearing this makeup for the last 12 hours, and I have been at work. I was wearing a mask on and off throughout the day, and how do you think my skin looks? I have not touched up my skin until I sat down to film this video, and I didn't add any powder. I didn't add any more foundation. All I did was add a little bit more blush and highlighter, and I added some of my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. So if you like the way my skin looks, which I think it looks pretty good, I'm not oily and I'm not a cakey mess, then this next foundation is definitely one that you might want to consider checking out. And that is from Lancome. This is the also revamped Tint Idol Ultra Wear Stick Foundation, and I have the shade 140 Ivory in this one. I am a huge fan of the liquid version of this foundation. It wears really, really well on my normal to oily skin, and you know what? So does this new stick foundation. Stick foundations, guys, are just super easy to wear. They're super easy to apply. I used my BK Beauty 101 brush to apply this one this morning. Did a fabulous job. And look, the proof is how my skin looks after 12 hours of wear. Like, my makeup is pretty much intact. I'm not caking, even like right here around my mouth. It looks really good. I've been happy with this one, happy with the liquid, happy with the stick. Now that I've been wearing the stick foundation a couple more times since my initial review, I think I'm liking it more than the liquid. Ooh, and that's hard because that liquid foundation from Lancome, that's a beautiful one. If you're looking for a foundation, maybe you need it for a wedding, maybe you're going to be, there's a pageant, maybe you're going to be in a photo shoot, maybe you're just going to be going to work for the next 14 hours and you want a foundation that is going to last all day and look good. This one from Lancome, the stick and or the liquid, whatever your preferred formulation is, they are definitely worth checking out. They're in the $40 to $50 price range. I want to say this could have been like $48, and I think the liquid might be around the same price point, but they're worth every penny. Lancome is a brand that, again, I grew up on. I always had, you know, either a Lancome foundation or eyeshadow palette or something from Lancome in my makeup stash growing up, and I am still using it today. Absolutely love the stick foundation. So now we've made it all the way to number 1. What do you guys think has topped my list? Well, if you've been watching my videos pretty regularly these last couple months, then you definitely know what grabbed my number 1 spot, and it is from the drugstore. It is the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation with hyaluronic acid, and it says long wear on the bottle. That's because it's telling the truth. I reviewed this foundation. When did I review it? It was in January, I believe, when I reviewed this foundation. Loved it. I wear the shade 04 Neutral Porcelain. It does come with a pump. Guys, this just wore so beautifully on my skin with just that natural, ever so slightly dewy finish. For $11, I believe that's how much I paid for this one. You get beautiful coverage, you get long-lasting coverage, long-lasting wear, and I want to say this one has more shades than the HD liquid coverage foundation does, but I think to get the full shade range, you have to go to the Catrice website to see all of the shades, because I don't think, for whatever reason, Ulta carries all of the shades, but I do know, if I'm not mistaken, it does come in more shades than that other foundation, which that other foundation that Catrice makes, the HD liquid coverage, that is also a very good foundation. This one though, this one is my new favorite from Catrice. It is just a new favorite in my stash. I've enjoyed wearing it. I like how my skin looks when I first apply it, throughout the day, and at the end of the day. This is definitely an affordable foundation worth checking out. And I don't think this is just meant for any specific skin type. No matter what your skin is, I think you're definitely going to benefit from this one. Highly encourage you to check this beauty out. So guys, that's it. We've come to the end of the video. Those were all 13 foundations that I have tried over these last 2 months. I definitely want to hear from you guys next. What did you think of how these foundations ranked? What were some of your favorites? Did your favorites rank in my top list? Definitely let me know. And guys, I do want to say, no offense if any of your favorites were not necessarily my favorites. We're just different skin types. We have different preferences, and that's okay. That's why we watch these YouTube videos, and that's why we read reviews to see, you know, what's working and what's not, and whether it's worth checking out. So definitely sound off in the comments down below. You know, I always love to hear from you guys. I want to say welcome to all of my new subscribers. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for watching and for commenting. It really, guys, it means the world. Don't forget to thumbs up this video if you did enjoy watching. That all helps me out so much. I want to thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. You all have a great day or night wherever it is you all are at. Stay hydrated, guys. Drink that water, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.